but you have to leave home to get it. You love the steamer from Rival. Rival has reinvented steam cooking to give you nutritious steam-cooked food easily and automatically. The Rival steamer doesn't boil away natural flavor, doesn't add calories, and doesn't expect you to be perfect. It's all automatic. The steamer. Now from Rival.
Fatima, the Miracle of the Sun, Saturday. Channel 2 Eyewitness News with George Sells and Verge Jacks, Fred McLeod on sports, and Chuck Gatica with the weather. Detroit, Eyewitness News at 5:30.
Good evening. Detroit's food spoilage problem was much worse than the Young administration revealed. That word today from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which issued a highly critical audit of the mayor's emergency food program. The audit places a much higher value on the amount of food contaminated last winter and also says there was already a 2-year supply of food on hand when the city ordered more. Woody Willis has details.
That this report of the fund should dispel the innuendos, if not outright charges, that the money is being misused.
The federal audit came up with a bottom line of 568,195 pounds of food spoiled, contaminated, or lost. The value, $418,275. The Inspector General said there was a 2.2-year supply of food on hand already, valued at more than $1.3 million when city officials ordered more. The mayor's first audit found 388,000 pounds of food lost, 3,000 due to damaged packaging, 223,000 pounds contaminated by birds and rodents at the Shane Jefferson warehouse. The owners of the SeaWorld Seafood Exchange originally donated space to the city free of charge. When the freezers fail mechanically, 162,000 pounds of turkeys and dairy products perished. Mayor Young fixed the total financial loss at $270,000, but the estimate wasn't all-inclusive. 158,000 pounds still unaccounted for will be the object of a preliminary inquiry to determine if theft of commodities occurred. The Inspector General wants the city to refund the money in question, which miffs city council members who still aren't sure what's going on.
The Auditor General was denied access to the records, so consequently, the city council doesn't know what happened.
And while the mayor has insisted he will offer critics no sacrificial lamb,
he wasn't in the warehouse. He had persons who were doing this, and it seems to me that the blame ought to be placed squarely where the blame belongs.
The question of possible theft could open a new round of ugly accusations unless the outside CPA audit promised by the mayor finds out exactly what happened to the tons of commodities lost and as yet unaccounted for. In Detroit, Woody Willis, Channel 2 Eyewitness News.
The federal report also calls for the state to directly supervise funding and food distribution in Detroit from now on. Mayor Young says he will have no comment on the report until he has a chance to read it thoroughly.
It was not lazy welfare recipients who got hurt by the cutbacks in the federal budget 3 years ago. That quote from University of Michigan researcher Rosemary Sari. So who was hurt? Professor Sari says it was single mothers who held jobs but supplemented their income with welfare. Sari bases her conclusions on a 3-state study of working women and their children. If President Reagan is taking heat for cuts in welfare, he's also under the gun this evening for reduced federal aid to education. In fact, the National Education Association says federal aid to public schools last year dropped to 6.4% of total school spending. The teachers union says that is the lowest the percentage of federal help has been in 20 years.
So far, no charges have been filed against a Michigan boy who allegedly shot to death his 13-year-old sister Friday night. Van Buren County prosecutors scheduled a meeting with state police today, but the latest word is authorities still aren't sure whether the shooting was an accident or intentional. Police say Jackie Morris of Hamilton Township died after being shot once in the head with a .22 caliber rifle by her younger brother.
And here in Metro Detroit, funeral services for the victim of a similar tragedy. This was the day of burial for a teenage girl killed by an accidental gunshot while sitting in the Precious Blood Parochial School classroom last Wednesday. Our Stan Childress reports.
A family, a school, a church, a city, bearing the heaviest of life's burdens, today laid 13-year-old Kelly Crittenden to rest. An overflow crowd of mourners jammed New St. Mark's Missionary Baptist Church today in Detroit to pay last respects for the 8th grader shot to death last Wednesday by a classmate who accidentally discharged a pistol he was handling. The grief and sorrow today uncontrollable. Pain etched on the faces of friends, schoolmates, teachers, and school officials was clearly evident. Many were forced by the large crowd into an adjoining wing. Sorrow echoed throughout the church.
I say to you, Andre, and to the family, keep the faith.
Among others, the Detroit Catholic Diocese was represented by Bishop Moses Anderson and Father William Stopa.
I would like to ask all of you that if her memory is precious, as we come together for this occasion, we may work together in all of our schools.
And in the back of everyone's mind, a message almost too obvious to mention aloud, yet too unavoidable to be left unsaid.
But if you want to have a weapon in your house, lock it up. Take the bullets out of it. Don't let the children get to them. If this thing isn't talked up amongst us and for too very long, it's going to happen again. Yeah.
In Warren, Stan Childress, Channel 2 Eyewitness News.
And an additional sad footnote to the Kelly Crittenden story. The hearse carrying the child's body to the cemetery in Warren today was struck by another automobile. No one was seriously injured. As for the car that struck the hearse, it was stolen.
Jury selection is to begin late today in Jacksonville on the trial of Otis Toole, who has confessed to at least 50 murders during an 8-year crime spree with his homosexual lover, Henry Lee Lucas, originally from Michigan. Toole is on trial for the murder of a 62-year-old man in a boarding house fire. Toole is already serving time in prison for arson, and he is the prime suspect in the highly publicized killing of 6-year-old Adam Walsh in Hollywood, Florida.
Still to come at 5:30, a real-life rags to riches story.
The story of that big lottery winner is just one of many stories yet to come this Monday evening.
Hey folks, your Datsun dealers dare you to compare our pickups to the competition. Compare our trucks for power with the biggest standard engine in their class. Compare our trucks for durability with a double-wall cargo bed. And only Nissan offers 8.8% truck financing that can save you $700 to $1,400. Find out what the competition doesn't want you to know. Test drive our trucks today. We dare you to compare.
Now is the time to save at your Metro Detroit Datsun dealers.
For typing 4,280 letters, for filing 72 pounds of memoranda, for booking 247 flights, for making 502 appointments and breaking 124 gracefully, and for saving the face of the boss on countless occasions. It is only fitting that during National Secretaries Week, we present you with this floral tribute.
Give your valuable secretary flowers from an Allied Florists Association member.
Rochester Typewriter Company just made a special purchase of beautiful office furniture to bring you the buys of a lifetime. So you'll save 20 to 50% off computer furniture, chairs, typewriters, file cabinets, and all wood and metal desks, with thousands of other bargains priced to sell fast. So scamper to Rochester Typewriter Company's giant warehouse store in Troy on 16 Mile at DeQuinder. Call 689-0505. That's 689-0505. These bargains end Saturday. Hurry in for best selection.
An ounce of gold, an ounce of zinc. Which is more important for your good health? Zinc. More precious than gold for good health. Z-Bec is rich in zinc, a mineral essential to bones and red blood cells, plus 6 B-complex vitamins and vitamin C, vitamins your body can't store, plus vitamin E. To make sure you get enough zinc and vitamins in your diet, get Z-Bec, rich in zinc, more precious than gold for good health. Official vitamin of the 1984 United States Olympic team.
That fog this morning gave you enough trouble driving, but it really caused headaches at Detroit's Metro Airport. Hundreds of flights were delayed in arriving at Metro Airport today until the fog finally thinned out a bit at mid-morning. Air traffic controllers say they had planes stacked in holding patterns in virtually every direction from the airport. What's worse, there's probably going to be more fog tonight and tomorrow morning.
And that's been keeping Chuck Gatica busy, but he's also been busy opening some mail. What do you have there?
Yeah. I got this little deal in the mail today. It comes from Mr. and Mrs. Dwight Allison. It says, enclosed, please find a humdinger weather forecaster. Since you have all the latest equipment, I thought it would be a help in determining the weather. This is the thing you hang outside on a nail. And if it's wet, it's raining. If it's white, it's snowing. If it's stiff, it's freezing. If it's moving, it's windy. And if it's gone, you've been ripped off. So I'll use this every day and let you know what it says. There, you can look at it. The Humdinger Weather Forecaster. I thought maybe we had one around here anyway. Take a look at what happened today outside. We had a high of 48 degrees, the low this morning 40. And we have collected officially now at Metro 3/100ths of an inch of rain since midnight. But I suspect you may have gotten a little more if you got any rain at all today. Satellite picture. Boy, it looks like one from last week. Spiral in the cloud cover. Not a real strong low-pressure center, but there's one in south-central Michigan, another one in central Ohio with this dash line. That's a trough or a wind shift line. Back behind that line, the wind's out of the west-northwest. Out ahead of it with that counterclockwise flow, mainly out of an easterly direction. This is giving us enough instability with the moisture available to give us those light rain showers around the area. And you add that moisture, we're now finding the dew point coming up, and that means the chance for more fog tonight. Back out here, there is some sunshine, some showers again across northern Illinois, also some more stuff down south. The green is the rain. We have a little rain around our area now, moving mainly northeast at a snail's pace, about 10 to 15 miles an hour. There is more rain down to our south, moving in generally the same direction, so there is the chance to get some more rain later on tonight. But for the ball game, about 7:30, there could be a break as this little area moves out slowly, and we should see some abatement in that rain, but it will still be cloudy and there could still be some fog. Let's go to local radar now, and you can see just a few showers south of us around Toledo way, back up through the Detroit metro area, scattered back to the northeast, again now all moving northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Outside for us right now, here's what I have. We are getting light rain, 51 degrees at Metro. City Airport not available this time. Winds northeast at 7. Barometric pressure is now steady, but still low, and the relative humidity at 83%. After this, we'll scan the country for temperatures and have your forecast. Stay tuned.
The Rhythm and Blues comes to the Music Hall for 1 week only, beginning May 4th. Tickets available at all CTC Ticket World outlets. For more information, call the Music Hall at 963-7680.
If you haven't received your Crowley Spring Sale Spectacular Book of Savings, it's in store for you now at Crowley's.
Miss Mermaid is making a splash at the box office. Monday night on PM Detroit at 7:30, meet Daryl Hannah, star of the hit movie Splash. Then, would you drive a 5-wheeled car? Inventor Brooks Walker has been working on it for 50 years. Plus, discover the secrets that have kept the Irish Rovers internationally successful. Join Channel 2's Matty Majors and Gary Coverly for PM Detroit, 7:30 Monday, right after Love Connection.
Attention Detroit High School seniors. Enter the 1984 Channel 2 Editorial Writing Contest. The deadline is May 12th. See your English teacher for details now.
Some temperatures from across the country. St. Louis, Missouri has about 43 degrees, 52 over at Pittsburgh Way, 49 for New York City, 65 at Cape Hatteras. Boy, tornadoes over the weekend down in the Mid-South. Now they're getting a little more sunshine. You can see 70s right now from Dallas down to New Orleans, but this morning there were some record-breaking lows there. 65 over at Salt Lake City, Utah, and 60 now for San Francisco. We stand at 51. It's 47 back out at Grand Rapids, 40s, even some 50s across the UP, a little more sunshine there. Our dew point now stands at 46, and when you don't have much of a difference from the temperature to the dew point temperature, that means there is the chance for fog, and that is in the forecast tonight. Right now we've got light rain and a little fog with visibility down to about 3 miles. Here's your forecast beginning with tonight. From the Humdinger Weather Forecaster, cloudy and damp tonight with occasional rain, a little fog. The overnight low down near 30. Some of that fog could be dense your way, so be careful. Tomorrow, looks like it will be cloudy early with a few sprinkles and some fog. Could get some breaks, should get some breaks with some sunshine by afternoon. High temperature in the 50s. And by tomorrow nighttime, some cloudiness lingers, but still we will be able to see a few stars, 36 to 39, the overnight low.
All right, let's get this humdinger back over here where it belongs.
Thank you. I'll take it to the office.
Leave that. Thanks,
As long as we complain about our weather here in Metro Detroit, we got to think about the people 600 miles to the south. We're very lucky. They're picking up the pieces down south today, cleaning up after yesterday's Easter Sunday tornadoes. For some, there is nothing to pick up. In Water Valley, Mississippi, a woman saying she felt like Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz as her home blew away around her. 10 Mississippi counties have been declared disaster areas. The Easter tornadoes killed at least 15 people in the Memphis, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, and other parts of Mississippi. More than 100 other people were injured.
Here in Michigan, bad weather caused a near tragedy yesterday on the Thunder Bay River near Alpena. 3 fishermen were thrown into the river when turbulence caused their boat to overturn just below the 9th Street Dam. Fire Department paramedics rescued Jerry Jones of Troy and Jeff Buchanan of Royal Oak near the boat. Peter Garrett of Alpena was rescued downstream. Right now, a traffic jam of more than 90 freighters on the St. Clair River isn't showing any sign of improving. In fact, the Coast Guard says ice, which is causing the problem, is clogging again. That means the freighters, which the Coast Guard had been escorting downriver, will in all likelihood become stuck again. But for the people of Harson's Island, there is some good news. After 3 weeks of sitting idle, their ferry is running again. But Frank Thomas reports the unstable weather means the boat's schedule could change.
Despite the heavy shroud of fog, the Harson's Island ferry was running this morning. For the island's 1,500 residents, it's a link with the outside world that has been only a memory during the last 3 weeks of uncertain weather. Dan Hill has been piloting the ferry across the South Channel for 20 years. And even though he knows the water like the back of his hand, he must temper his navigation skills with one eye trained on the weather.
So far, I'm able to get through it, but it looks like we might have some problems in a short while.
It's that uncertainty which has created a big concern for island residents James Krause, his wife Alma, and their 8-month-old daughter Megan. For Alma, the unstable spring weather has been the most trying. Until the baby came, she kept a full-time job. Now, with the solitude imposed by shifting ice, the last 3 weeks have been somewhat hard to take.
It's hard for me because this is the first year I've been home in 16 years, and I've always come and gone as I please, and now kind of forced retirement and being trapped here is sometimes very difficult.
As a Clinton Township fireman, James has made it to work all right, hitching a ride with the Coast Guard. But that still doesn't solve his biggest concern, getting hay to his 2 horses.
I'm able to get grain, but hay is pretty bulky, and I can't get back and forth with a pickup truck. You leave one vehicle on the mainland, one on the island for transportation, so I've got about 2 bales of hay left, and it's going to present a little problem.
But while the ice jams are a temporary inconvenience, there is a potential for some long-term problems. The jam-ups on the river have reduced the water levels, which could seriously damage the environment. Ecological problems which could take months, if not years, to correct. On Harson's Island, Frank Thomas, Channel 2 Eyewitness News.
Frank also reports that conditions remain so unstable around Harson's Island that at one point, drivers of gasoline tanker trucks today were given only 90 minutes to make their deliveries or face the prospect of being stuck on the island.
In sports, Jack Morris goes after win number 4 tonight.
That story and the thoughts of a former Tiger as he watches his old team take off like a rocket. As Eyewitness News continues at 5:30.
And then at 6, big bucks in the Bear Bar business. I'm Kathy Adams. We'll take a look at that story and much more on Eyewitness News at 6.
Energy-saving thermal replacement windows don't cost a fortune. In fact, they pay for themselves.
Here at the Wallside Window Factory, you buy direct. No middleman. We build, install, and guarantee our windows for 20 years. You see, nobody undersells the factory. As president of Wallside for 40 years, I guarantee it.
For a free in-home estimate, call Wallside today at 272-4400. That's 272-4400.
You'll save money. Let me prove it.
Hey, folks, your Datsun dealers dare you to compare our pickups to the competition. Compare our trucks for power with the biggest standard engine in their class. Compare our trucks for durability with a double-wall cargo bed. And only Nissan offers 8.8% truck financing that can save you $700 to $1,400. Find out what the competition doesn't want you to know. Test drive our trucks today. We dare you to compare.
Now is the time to save at your Metro Detroit Datsun dealers.
Mark, have I got a place for you?
We're Mountain Jacks.
Well, if you recommend it.
The place friends recommend. They recommend our atmosphere. They recommend our food. We're the place friends recommend to friends.
and Gus will love it.
Even Gus?
The place friends recommend.
Fred McLeod in Now Sports makes you wonder if it's the weather or what, but the Tigers are smoking.
You know how they make galoshes for golf spikes? You wear them over top. Maybe they can do it for baseball spikes. The Tigers are going to need them the last couple of weeks the way we had the weather. Hollywood may want to shoot a remake of the movie How the West Was Won with a change of characters, though. Instead of John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, it's going to be maybe Chet Lemon and Jack Morris. Tonight, the Minnesota Twins are here for the first of two. The Tigers are now 12-1. 11 of those victories have come against teams from the American League West. The latest, yesterday's thumping of the White Sox at Tiger Stadium. Chet Lemon had 4 more hits to raise his average to 367, second on the team to Alan Trammell. This guy, Darrell Evans, drove home 2 more runs. He has the club lead in RBIs with 13 to go with a 351 batting average. The one fellow who now wears a Minnesota uniform can't help but notice what the Tigers have been doing lately. He's with Larry Adderley, live from Tiger Stadium. Larry?
Thank you, Fred. Welcoming back Larry Pashnick, who grew up not far from here. Exciting to watch the Tigers from a distance.
Sure is. It's a little different first year leaving, but it was a situation where they traded me this winter, and I'm just happy to be back in the big leagues.
Any thoughts when you look at that 12-1 start and say, ooh, gee, I could have been a part of that?
They've got a fantastic start. They got a real good ball club on paper, and they've been playing real well, and we're just going to try to stop them a little bit here tonight.
The Twins are 500 on the year and playing pretty well.
We've got a very young ball club. It's very aggressive. Sometimes we make a few mistakes out there, but it's a ball club that's going to keep coming at them, and we're not going to give up. We're just going to keep coming at them.
Besides standing back here in the dugout and giving you the business for being interviewed, how are they treating you in Minnesota?
These guys here are fantastic. It's a real good group of guys. We're all pretty close to the same age, and we're just having a lot of fun and playing the game and trying to get by.
For you, it's been middle and long relief, but perhaps some starts in the future.
Hopefully maybe we'll get in once the schedule picks up a little more, a couple doubleheaders. Maybe I'll get a couple starts. But like I said, I'm happy in long relief and middle just as long as I'm in the big leagues.
At the moment, you're looking for relief against the Tigers.
I'd love to get in. It'd be good to pitch against teammates. I threw against them in spring training and got in at our park a little bit, and that's fun. They know me, I know them, so we'll just have to go from there.
Good luck, Larry, if they get a ball game in tonight, because the drizzle's still falling, Fred.
I was going to say, Larry, stay dry. Thanks a lot. Talk to you at 11 o'clock. The Tigers will go into tonight's game with the Twins 4 games out in front. The Blue Jays have picked up a half a game this afternoon at home. The Jays have down Seattle by a score of 8-5. George Bell has had some big hits for Toronto recently. Parked one here to the chilly seats and left, giving the Jays a 3-2 lead. Dave Collins also had one of 8 Toronto base hits this afternoon. The Blue Jays got 4 RBIs from Lloyd Moseby. Dave Steve, the winning pitcher, is now 3-0 for Toronto. Hockey's version of the Final Four is all set as Minnesota and Edmonton have sealed up the final 2 positions. The North Stars completed a tremendous series with St. Louis last night in overtime. The game tied at 3 until Steve Payne made the Blues pay for this mistake. A backhander to beat Mike Liut. Minnesota wins the game and the series 4-3. At Edmonton last night, the Oilers trailed Calgary 4-3 in the second period, but this Glenn Anderson goal was one of 3 in 4 minutes and 10 seconds for the Oilers. Edmonton also needed a 7th game to eliminate Calgary there. And coming up at 6 o'clock, Bobby Knight has sliced his Olympic basketball team down to 20. One of them is Michigan's Tim McCormick, who has done nothing but impress scouts all week, as well as coaches. We'll give you the list of the notables and tell you about that name that has been surprisingly, though, left off the list of 20. And I guess at the end of May, they will pare it down to about 12.
And as far as McCormick is concerned, he wasn't even selected originally.
But he's played very well at forward and center, and Bobby likes that.
All right.
Thanks, Barry.
Okay.
Well, this just in, and something that's going to make the Russians awfully angry. There are reports now from Honolulu with people traveling with President Reagan that the U.S. has cut a deal with the Chinese for nuclear fuels and atomic power plants. This agreement has been under discussion for quite some time. There was always an argument over how the atomic fuel would be used in U.S.-built nuclear reactors in China, but apparently the deal has been made. We are going to give nuclear help to the Chinese. President Reagan, meanwhile, continues his slow trip to China, spending today in Hawaii. In addition to some leisure time, the president spent several hours with aides getting ready for his talks with the communist leaders. The president will leave Hawaii tomorrow and fly on to Guam. He's scheduled to arrive in China on Thursday, taking 5 days, getting used to the time difference to make the 9,000-mile trip. The Supreme Court today listened to government lawyers defend the practice of withholding student aid to college students who refuse to register for the draft. However, attorneys representing 6 Minnesota students argued the restriction is a system of coercion, forcing citizens to comply with unrelated laws. Congress passed the law denying aid to unregistered students after thousands refused to sign up following reinstatement of the draft by then-President Jimmy Carter.
And, George, another Supreme Court action. Utility customers won't have to pay for the nuclear accident at 3 Mile Island. The Supreme Court today dismissed an appeal by New Jersey Central Power and Light Company. The utility was appealing a lower court ruling barring the company from passing on the cost of the 1979 accident to consumers. At stake was about $46 million. A water leak at the controversial Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant in California is now being called not serious. Low-level nuclear testing was to have started today, but the plant was shut down yesterday when the leak was discovered. So now it will be at least midweek before the testing begins.
Looks like we've got another example of the miracle of modern medicine.
Michigan's second test tube baby. That story is next as Eyewitness News continues.
Compaq Computer was born in a coffee shop. Three men with an idea for a personal computer that would simply work better.
It should run thousands of programs.
Be rugged, powerful as well as portable.
I got it.
Maybe even a hard disk.
I've got an idea that just might let us do that.
The next year, Compaq became the most successful new company in the history of American business because they were right.
How about some coffee?
It simply works better. Compaq.
An important message for seafood lovers. Don't stop at Red Lobster.
Don't stop?
Announcing the all-you-can-eat special. For a limited time, there's no limit on oceans of clam strips, fried or broiled fish, and everybody's favorite popcorn shrimp, served with all the trimmings. All you can eat at Red Lobster, only $6.95. Once it starts, you won't stop.
I'll say.
All you can eat, $6.95, every Sunday through Wednesday.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you. Talk to the experts at the Big E.
I expect a great deal from my bank. The Big E gives it to me with President's Plus. It's an exclusive package of free bank services, entertainment values, and more. It pays to be important at the Big E.
Talk to the experts at the Big E.
The Big E really is #1 with ideas you can bank on. Now, as I was saying about...
Talk to the experts at the Big E.
Strong. Easy to handle. Flavor sealing. Reynolds Wrap, the aluminum foil you can count on for Reynolds Wrap quality. If it's worth wrapping, it's worth Reynolds Wrap. The good food wrap.
Who says only the rich get richer? It's not always that way. Witness the winner of the $2 million Massachusetts lottery. He's 62-year-old Harold Costello. Now, Harold lives in a run-down tar paper shack in Braintree, Massachusetts. The shack is in such sad shape that town officials have been after him for years to either fix it up or tear it down. But now that Costello has won $2 million, he's going to move up with the rich folks, he says. Says he's going to tear down the tar paper shack. He's going to buy a mobile home.
It may be the first major step in fighting the deadly disease known as AIDS. From Washington tonight comes word that U.S. researchers have isolated a virus believed to be the primary cause of immune deficiency syndrome. They've also come up with a way to grow and detect the virus, which is an important step toward research for a cure. The U.S. research is similar to work reported by the French last week.
A medical breakthrough pioneered several years ago paid off here in Detroit today. The state's second test tube baby, born at Hudsville Hospital just before 3 o'clock this morning. Our Nancy McCauley takes a look at this miracle of modern medicine.
Life for Peter Morshurus began here in this lab 9 months ago. Peter was born early this morning, 8 pounds, 3 ounces.
We had given up almost. It was, the next thing would have been adoption, and Jen wasn't really for it that much. We wanted a baby, and it was like, get one any way we can. A definite miracle.
Peter's parents, Mary and John, conceived through a process called in vitro fertilization. In simple terms, that means the mother's eggs are removed, fertilized with the father's sperm, then are placed back inside the mother.
It's simple in that the procedures that are done, we do many times and for other reasons, and each part of the process is simple. What is complicated is coordinating everything. The women do have to be seen on a daily basis for several weeks. They do have to go through a fairly complicated set of steps but each step itself is simple.
The success rate for the in vitro process is 25%. A total of 35 women have used the method through Hutzel Hospital. Although there are other programs in the state, 8 are now pregnant. In fact, the next test tube baby to be born here at the hospital is due in June. Nancy McCauley, Channel 2 Eyewitness News.
And that's Eyewitness News at 5:30 this Monday evening.
I'll be right back with Kathy Adams and Eyewitness News at 6 after we check in for this preview of the CBS Evening News.
On tonight's broadcast, Britain prepares to leave Tripoli as Libyans in London embassy vow to hold out until deadline. Correspondent Ed Rabel reports on AIDS and an uneasy U.S. military. And Twilight Zone director ordered to stand trial in deaths of 3 actors in a helicopter stunt. More details later on the CBS Evening News, so stay with us.
Channel 2 Eyewitness News with George Sells and Kathy Adams, Fred McLeod on sports, and Chuck Gatica with the weather. Detroit, Eyewitness News at 6.
Good evening. The leader of the Guardian Angels is jailed in Detroit, and nudity at a local bar is the subject of a Take 2 report.
But the top story at 6, shareholders at Detroit Edison beat back a plan to halt construction on the Fermi 2 nuclear plant. But there was some discontent among stockholders at their annual meeting today. Though Detroit Edison reported a 20% increase in first quarter profits this year, Murray Feldman reports there were some bruised pocketbooks among some stockholders.
Not all stockholders are happy. Some who've lost money on Detroit Edison stock over the years passed out literature outside their meeting promoting voters' choice. That's the constitutional amendment that would place control of taxes in voters' hands. That, Stanley Letchard told me, might be the only way he'll recoup on some of his Detroit Edison losses.
The stock itself is worth from a high of $35 down to about $12. There is no way that thing is going to recover, but perhaps we can salvage a little bit of the dividend by not paying quite as much tax on it.
Inside, Edison board members painted a rosy picture for the future. They have a long-term contract for low-sulfur coal that will be burned at the Bell River plant upriver, and the Fermi 2 nuclear power plant downriver will soon be completed. Edison says providing energy with the lowest kilowatt-hour price around. Challenging that statement, though, is this lady, Sister Barbara Bocci, speaking for the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Her order is located near the Fermi site. They hold more than 10,000 shares of Edison stock, and they fear for their health.
We view the further construction of Fermi 2 as an action which threatens the quality of life that our sisters and our neighbors have worked generations to achieve.
Edison Board Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Walter McCarthy disagrees on the safety question.
Even a Michigan Public Service Commission audit team, in suggesting that we might have spent more money on the plant than was necessary, accused us of being paranoid about safety and the environment. And this is a charge to which we gladly plead guilty.
After the balloting, the measure was soundly defeated for the 4th year in a row. So tonight, Fermi 2 still has the green light. And so with the end of today's meeting, the stage is now set for the most momentous year Detroit Edison has seen in the past 2 decades. By late summer, nuclear fuel will be loaded into the reactor here at the Fermi 2 nuclear power plant in Monroe. And in December, that plant will begin generating nuclear power for Detroit Edison. In Detroit, I'm Murray Feldman, Channel 2 Eyewitness News.
At that shareholders meeting, another suggestion was voted down today. This one to change the name of Detroit Edison to Michigan Edison. Now, the shareholder who brought up the idea said he thought the word Detroit had a bad connotation.
Another utility, Consumers Power, is disputing recent reports that it might abandon its troubled Midland nuclear power plant. Tonight, the company says the reports are not true, that work will not stop at the plant, and their research shows that it will be more expensive for customers, both in the short and long term, if the project is abandoned. State officials have told the media of plans by Consumers Power to abandon the project, which is years behind the initial completion deadline and will cost nearly $4.2 billion to finish that nuclear power plant. 5 nuclear protesters are free tonight after spending 3 days in jail for violating a court order to stay away from the Williams International Facility in Walled Lake. The company builds engines for the cruise missile. We told you last Friday here on Eyewitness News about the arrest in which 5 people were taken into custody and arraigned after throwing blood and ashes at the facility.
It seems that no matter what method is used to produce electric power, it creates problems. But there's some good news about acid rain in Michigan. Acid rain, in part, is generated by the sulfur produced by large coal-burning operations like electric plants. But state environmental officials say the amount of sulfur generated in Michigan has been reduced because of restrictions on those power plants. By the way, this is not a fight we in Michigan can win.